Welcome back. Now let's talk a bit more about the raga. The raga is the most important concept that any student of Indian music should understand. The Hindu Urdu word is rag, is derived from the Sanskrit raga, which means to color or passion. It is linked to the Sanskrit word rang, which means to color. Therefore, raga may be thought of as an acoustic method of coloring the mind of the listener with an emotion. This is fine as a general concept, but what does this mean musically? It's not a tune, a melody, scale, or any concept for which we have an English equivalent. It is instead a combination of many of these different characteristics. It is these characteristics that define the raga. First, there must be notes of the raga, or an identifying set of pitches. These are called the swar. This concept is similar to what we have in Western music, solfege. This isn't included in the book, but I thought it interesting. It is known that Indian music is based on the concept of 7 notes, sapta swar. These notes are shad, rihad, gandhar, madhyam, dhyavat, and nishad, yet they are commonly abbreviated to sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, and ni. The positions of these notes may vary considerably. Therefore, there should be a way to describe these scales. And we use the term mode in English, that in Hindi, and it's also called mela in South Indian languages. So we can kind of think of these somewhat as similar to our do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do in many ways. I'm including a file for my music major friends with all these musical modes. It's a bit advanced for non-musicians, I would think, but it will give you an idea of the range of scales that are used in the Indian musical language. There must also be the ascending and descending structure. This is called arohana, avarohana, for ascending, descending. Another characteristic is that the various notes do not have the same level of significance. So, the important notes are called vadi and samavadi. There are often characteristic movements to the rag. This is either called pakhad or swarup. In addition to the main characteristics of raga, or rag, for instance, ragas have been traditionally attributed to particular times of the day or seasons of the year. Also, the emotional state to be portrayed affects how the music should be ornamented. Melodic ornaments and melodic motives are used with microtonal inflections, or what I would call bending of the pitch to explore the notes in between the notes. There are also a repertoire of preconditioned particular raga. There is one final matter that we also need to make sure is present when we have a raga, and that is the drone. Without the drone, the mode in which we are functioning is unclear, and sort of the music will float around ungrounded. The rhythmic framework is called tala, and each tala has a specific number of beats. They can range from very short, just 3 or 4 beats, or up to 100 beats. There are 2 popular beats called tintal, or 10 beats, or haptal, 16 beats. The drum pattern that provides the framework for the composition is called the theka, as the theka can become obscured. And the first beat of each tala cycle is called the swam. The raga, as it grows or develops, so we're talking more structurally now, the raga as it grows or develops, note by note, is called barhat. This kind of development is not spelled out as it is in Western music or through composed. Rather, it will grow from a map or a template for musical action through the individual's years of devotional study and practice. In this way, from our Western way of thinking, it seems similar to jazz, as the music has a highly improvised feel. However, this kind of practice is very studied, has many rules to its application, and takes years to master, being passed mostly orally from teacher to student. And the social institution through which this knowledge is handed down is called gharana. The main instruments in the Hindustani Ragas are the sitar, tambura, and tabla. And if you'd like to see, there are lovely diagrams on page 1. The sitar is a quarterphone, long-necked, connecting to a half-gourd resonator. The neck is hollowed out in such a way to allow for the bending of the strings. This feature is important as it allows the bending of the pitch to create microtones. There are 6 or 7 strings, where some are designated to provide melody and others drone sounds. There are also several additional strings that provide sympathetic vibrations, and these provide additional overtones, adding to the instrument's timbre. The tambura is similar to the sitar in its construction, but is designated to provide the drone strings that include the fundamental pitches for each raga, including the tonic, or as the Indian word, vadi. The tones do not stay mainly on one pitch, but swirl around the fundamental tone. The tabla is a set of 2 drums, or membranophones. There is a higher pitched drum called dahina with a tapering cylindrical shape, and a lower pitched drum called bayan with a fuller, rounder shape. They can both be tuned by adjusting the tension on the straps at the side of the membrane. Both can produce a wide variety of sounds depending on where and how the drum is struck. For example, either with finger strokes or you can strike with the entire palm. There are many other features, 5 and 136. We have aerophones, such as the bansuri, and let me play a little bit of that. The shanai, now you can watch and listen to 2 videos of Ravi Shankar, the first of which can also be found in your book on page 132 as a musical guided tour. The second is an older Ravi Shankar who will help us to understand more about how these scales are structured.